I should make a disclaimer that says, these are my opinions, it's just what I think, this isn't me telling you what you should think. You might see that in the future. Alright, let's just get going.
Senator Gillibrand, welcome to the program.
Yeah, Senator, welcome to the program. I see you as a reoccurring guest. I don't know why, it's just, you know, one of you guys goes on one of these little crusades and you wind up fucking all over the place for a good long time, so, but welcome to the show.
Thanks, Christian. It's great to be on.
So, as I said, this is an extraordinary moment, an unprecedented time in American politics, and the world is gripped by this saga.
Yeah, a lot of people accusing the president of sexual misconduct of various sorts. Thank God it's just accusations so far. But, hey, you know, who needs courts anymore?
I mean, here it now takes aim squarely at President Trump as this whole Me Too movement, you know, gains momentum. Should the White House be worried?
Honestly, man, I think we should all be worried about a Me Too movement. 'Cause, boy, people want to be a part of something. And the definition is so vague that I think we should all be a little worried.
Well, President Trump should resign. These allegations are credible. They are numerous. I've heard these women's testimony, and many of them are heartbreaking. And President Trump should resign his position. Whether he will ever hold himself accountable is something, you know, you really can't hold your breath for. And so Congress should have hearings. They should do their investigation. They should have appropriate investigations of his behavior and hold him accountable.
What if he thinks it's bullshit? What if he's like, no, that never happened, so not gonna resign for something I didn't do just because somebody said I did it? Do you ever think of that? Because like Al Franken said, yeah, I did that. Louis C.K. said, yeah, I did that. Fucking, a lot of people have admitted shit. Fucking Kevin Spacey. Yeah, it sounds like me, but I was drunk, I don't remember. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's kind of admitted shit. And Donald Trump's not admitting to nothing. He's saying, no, didn't happen. So, why the fuck should he resign?
So you are standing by your prominent senator colleagues, Senator Cory Booker and others who have called today for the president to resign. I hear you very clearly agreeing with them. Do you think, though, that there should be, as these women have called for, a bipartisan investigation, or are you calling for an immediate resignation?
I think he should immediately resign. And if he doesn't, we should have the investigation.
So then you believe that we should follow the normal due process of law. Well, that's awesome.
You know, I wonder whether you read anything different into some of the prominent women around the president. It was quite extraordinary over the weekend when his own UN envoy, Nikki Haley, said, quote, that these women who accuse anyone should be heard and they should be dealt with. I know that he, the president, was elected, but women should always feel comfortable coming forward and we should all be willing to listen to them.
And I totally agree with that. Women should be willing to come forward. We should be willing to listen. And they should be willing to fucking provide proof. Because that's the way it works. I hear what you're saying. But I need to know somehow that it's true. Because that guy's saying no. And you're saying yes. So we need to have proof. That's how it works. I agree with her.
Is there a movement on his own side, do you think, now, amongst women?
Well, I think the point she's making is that this is a very powerful moment in America's history. And not only should women be heard, but they should be believed.
Yeah, see, I don't think that's the point she's making. Because that's not how it works.
And they should be investigated. So when you have these allegations coming forward, those allegations should be investigated, just like you would invest any other allegation of fraud or any other crime committed. Why do we not believe women? Why do we not investigate their allegations?
We investigate. Like, you get a lawyer, and you fucking investigate. I don't know why we don't. You tell me. Why don't we?
And so they should be believed and they should be investigated as a consequence. And so I think President Trump should be held accountable. And that's why I think these women are coming forward, because they want that accountability. They see CEOs being fired on the spot for this kind of behavior and worse.
Yeah, but that's different. All you need to do is throw shit on somebody in fucking Hollywood and have them get fired. Because that's how that works. That is all court of public opinion. Doesn't fucking matter. Because you're talking about doing whatever it takes to keep the almighty buck flowing. It's very different when you get into the presidency of the United States. That shit, you can't just up and fucking say things about the president. You have to be able to prove it. You have to be able to prove it. If you can't prove it, you just fucking talk it. And yeah, I believe you. Great. Fucking, but you need proof. Sorry. That's how the system works. Because that's how it's best. Oh, can you imagine a world where you just needed to be accused of things? Seriously, can you imagine that? Oh, it's terrifying.
And President Trump has committed assault, according to these women. And those are very credible allegations of misconduct and criminal activity. And he should be fully investigated. And he should resign.
He should be fully investigated. And if found guilty, then he should resign. Well, then he'd be fucking fired. But yeah, it's the president. You can't just have the president step down because he's accused of shit. Presidents get accused of shit all the time. It's just everything's taken seriously with him. And I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I don't fucking know. But I know it hasn't been proven to have happened. Because we'd be having a very different discussion.
So before I move on to Roy Moore, the candidate, the Republican candidate for the Senate special election in Alabama, can I first ask you about what you sort of started in the Senate regarding your own Senator Al Franken, and also in Congress with John Conyers, a long-time congressman. You know, you say they should resign. Why was it not okay for you to wait for the ethics investigation process to take its course? What was the tipping point for you and the other women?
This is so good. Oh, this is so perfect. It defines the whole thing so perfectly. It just points it all out. Just the stupidity of it. It's just fucking, it's just beautiful.
Well, you know, this was very heartbreaking for all of us. We worked well with Senator Franken. And
yeah, you wish, Freud.
And it was hard for us personally. But when we heard about the 8th allegation.
8th? 8th? Where was the listen and believe from 1 to 6? Sorry, 7! 8!
It was just too much, and I felt enough was enough. These were credible allegations from multiple sources. And, you know, having a debate about what's the difference between sexual assault and sexual harassment and unwanted groping, if you're having that debate and trying to split hairs, you're really having the wrong conversation. None of this behavior is okay, and I wanted to finally speak my mind on that issue, and that's why
Yeah, I mean, none of that behavior has always been okay. None of it's ever been okay. Forced anything sexually, that's never been okay. Like, it's not okay. It's not okay. And if it happens to you ladies, you gotta make sure you prove it. Like, it's sad, and that sucks. And it's one of those crimes that people just get away with a lot because it's fucking tough to prove. But you just, I don't know, you gotta do what you can to protect yourself. If you can't be protected in any other way, you have to be able to protect yourself. So, you know, you watch yourself. I don't know. I watch myself around people all the time. It's effortless for me. I've been doing it for 38 years. Watching myself around people. Started with stranger danger, and it's continued through my whole life. I don't just trust anybody just because I work with them. You know? So, you know, maybe you don't do the whole late night, I'll hang out with the boss all night. Because that's when the fucking shit happens. You keep it professional. You know, I don't know. You just fucking but you gotta be able to prove the shit. You gotta be able to prove it. Somehow, set the motherfucker up. They're animals. It should be easy.
Expressed myself as I did with my op-ed and talked about how I see this issue. I don't think we should be having a conversation splitting hairs about different conduct. And to me, it was enough, and I wanted to express myself, which is what I did.
Yeah, but it took 8.
Can I ask you, Senator, you have made it a cause and you've been very prominent in trying to level the playing field for women across the board in their professional endeavors. Military, I said, on campus, I've said, and now in Congress, in the Senate. Has it ever happened to you?
No, I have been blessed that I've never had to feel that sting of a harasser or a sexual assault and have to relive those moments publicly like so many brave women and men have. But what we can't lose sight of, Christian, in this moment is there are so many women around America who can't tell their story. There are so many low-wage women, women who are on hourly wages, whether they're working in bars or restaurants, in service industries, on farms across America, and their bosses aren't famous like Harvey Weinstein. They can't see accountability be held in the public eye when these allegations come out, and they may never see justice, and they may never feel they're in a position to come forward. And that's why I'm grateful for all these women who are coming forward and asking for accountability and trying to hold President Trump accountable for his outrageous conduct.
Ladies, those of you middle and lower class ladies out there, sorry, I'm just, it just hit me how that sounded. Middle and lower class income ladies out there, those of you, don't believe the fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. You can tell people. You go to the proper authorities. You go to your HR department. There's somebody that you can go to in some way. There just fucking is. Or what you do is you quit the fucking job. You find another job. There's so many sources to get jobs. Temp agencies, shit like that. You do what it gotta take. But I'm telling you, you fucking tell people. If shit happens to you, tell people. In that moment, you gotta fucking, hey! I will ruin you, you ever do that shit again. You know, you gotta do that kind of shit. And then fucking immediately, even after you threatened them and said fuck never again, and they said, oh, I'm sorry, fuck you still. Go to HR. This fucking shit happened. Do your job. And then whatever the findings are, the findings are. And you kind of got to deal from there. Because it's he said, she said. She said I did this. Oh, I'm saying I didn't do that. You know? So you got to also decide how far it went and how much of a thing you want to make of it. Because if you cannot prove definitively, then they're going to fucking figure on what they figure. And companies are always going to not want to rock the boat. They're going to hope that everybody will just let shit slide. He tried some shit. She fucking called him on it. He knows better now. That's what they hope. So it'll never happen again, and everybody will just fucking go back to work. And that's what they hope. And that's what they try first. It's what they try first. But if something happens again, gotta be on that shit. And if you're upset with the fact that nothing got done to your liking, then you make waves about it. You continue to make waves about it, and then they either fucking fire your ass because you're making waves, and then you make even more waves, or you just go fuck. What are you gonna do? It sucks. It does suck, and it's a terrible situation. But you have to look at the reality of it. You cannot look at this, well, in a perfect fucking world, it would never ever happen. So we wouldn't have to look to people to be the bigger man and accept what they've done wrong and admit and so on and so forth. No, you're talking about somebody who does it in the first place. They're not gonna fucking then feel bad about it. Are you kidding me? So you have to look at that reality. You are not safe. Ever. So you always move with an understanding that shit isn't safe until that shit is safe until it fucking isn't. And you pay attention to what's going on. You read the room, you know. Don't do this. Oh, well, he's black. I don't know. I mean, he's grabbing me by the throat, but I don't want to be racist. come the fuck on. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. It kills me when I hear that. Well, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want his life to be He raped you! Fuck his life! Like, ugh. So many times I hear those stories and it's like, oh my god, you're never going to be able to do anything in the future again because it's very time sensitive, man. You've got things that degrade on you and you got to get that shit fucking... As distasteful and horrible as it is to have to go through all that shit again, think of it. Think of it. Realistically. You suffer for another 20 minutes, maybe an hour. Hopefully it doesn't even last that long. You know, and then you've got them. They're fucking done. You can live with the knowledge that they're going to be punished, that they're not going to just get away with it. Because it's far more difficult to go through the rest of your life knowing that nobody cared, nothing fucking happened, and fuck it all, than to suffer for one more hour. Even if it takes 2 or 3, man, I would trade it gladly to know that that fucking guy is getting his... So I'm such an advocate for the immediate fucking rape kit. You gotta go immediately. The second it happens, the second it's done, the second you can break away, get free, whatever it takes. Immediately, you gotta do that shit. Immediately. So we can get these fuckers out of our lives. So we can see them put where they belong. So that they can all fuck each other to their heart's desire. Just rape each other. Just the whole rapey house over there. And keep them away from people that don't need to suffer that shit. I'm very passionate about this because it breaks my fucking heart.
I want to dig down a little bit because obviously you Democrats have forced 2 of your own prominent members to resign before even the ethics investigation. And the exact opposite is being seen on the other side of the aisle. I just spoke about Roy Moore. President Trump has now got right behind him. I mean, is this a political matter in that they want the seat, they wanted to pass their agenda, and they are just going to go for it?
Well, I don't think this should be a political matter. It's about doing the right thing. And it's about holding Congress accountable, holding Congress to the highest standards, not the lowest standards. And I hope
that someday you understand that just an accusation, just convicting based on an accusation, that is the lowest standard. That is the absolute lowest standard of justice. Imagine that world. All you need to do is accuse. Terrifying.
Voters in Alabama reject Roy Moore because of the allegations of pedophilia are horrendous.
Holy shit, I didn't hear about that. God damn. Man, I swear, if this dude has got pedophilia accusations thrown at him and he still wins, there will never be another Democratic president ever again. I'm just saying it. Or at least never one that's going to be elected by Alabama. Because, god damn. That's a rough one to just get thrown in. That's a rough one. I can't believe that he's still on the ticket. Wow. Like, not that I'm saying get him off there. Hey, you know, they voted. And they're voting. So they're going to vote what they believe. I leave it into their hands to decide whether or not a conviction is necessary. But goddamn, in this day and age, the accusation of pedophilia, whoa, is that a bad one? That is a bad one. Whoo, that's a bad one. And that's one of the biggest ones, man, that nobody gives a shit. You get that thrown at you and you're done. There doesn't need to be a trial for that nowadays. Nobody cares. Oh, I can't believe it. Man, that's surprising to me. I didn't know that until I saw this. Jeez.
I think these allegations are credible. I hope that voters will vote for Doug Jones, somebody who has dedicated his life to public service and justice for all. And I hope they will reject him as someone who's not fit to serve in the U.S. Senate.
Hey, man, That's a tough one. I mean, I'm just saying, looking at the reality of it, wow. That's an interesting race now all of a sudden.
I mean, it is mind-boggling. The world is really riveted. How could somebody with that many accusations, including allegations of going after minors, actually almost be about to be elected to the U.S. Senate? Now, a senior Republican, the senator from Alabama, Richard Shelby, has said, yeah, I couldn't vote for Roy Moore. The state of Alabama deserves better. But you've got a woman, a female senator, Senator Susan Collins, saying, you know, if the allegations are known prior to the election, we have a tough decision to make about whether it's our role as senators to overturn the will of the people. What's going to happen if he joins you in the U.S. Senate?
Dude. That has just become a very interesting race. I can't wait for tomorrow, man. Wow.
Well, I hope that there will be an ethics investigation, and I hope I'll actually have an opportunity to vote to not seat him. I hope they will make a recommendation to expulsion, which is a role they can take. But I think Senator Shelby's right when he says, I couldn't vote for this person and this person shouldn't be in the U.S. Senate. Again, elected leaders should be held to the highest standards, not the lowest.
That's a pretty fucking high standard. Never, ever, ever, ever have an allegation of anything thrown against you. That's an extremely high standard that you can manipulate so easily.
And we should be fundamentally valuing women. And that's what this larger conversation is about. Do we value women?
See that, folks? Listen and believe, or you don't value women.
Do we make a space for them to come forward? The Me Too movement is a powerful movement, and we want to make sure it's a lasting movement and that it's not just this moment in time.
I'm all for it, man. If you've had shit happen to you, I am all for it. But if you can't prove it, it's just allegations. I'm not saying don't bother to make them, but I'm saying look at the reality of the situation. You got to be able to prove it. So, you know, if you want to make your allegations, you gotta, I'm not saying stack the deck in your own favor. I'm just saying, you know, put a camera up somewhere and then fucking just go about your normal day. Don't do anything different, because then it's gonna look like you're, you know, you can't rig it, but you can record it, you know? So, but at least, you know, there's legalities even in that whether or not that can be admissible or things of that nature, but at least get your fucking foot in the door. At least that way you know that people know that really happened, you know. Gets you something at least. Jesus, I don't know, but fuck. You gotta be able to prove. You gotta be able to prove. That's a rough one, but you gotta be able to prove.
But we reflect on how do we treat women? Do we value women in our communities?
It isn't one or the other, man. You can value both women and justice, I think. You know? Due process. You can value both. I think you can value both. I don't think that's too much to ask. And for you guys out there, you know, stop being fucking weird or doing dumb shit that you're doing. Because, asshole. And if you're doing it, I hope you get fucking caught. I hope you get in trouble, motherfucker. But, you know, they're stupid. They should be easy to catch. It should be easy to get some sort of, I don't know, something. Don't go anywhere alone.
And then empower more women to be heard. And I also hope this continues to drive more women to run for office. We have seen overwhelming numbers of women running for office in the last election. And we need to change the player list, whether it's in Congress or whether it's in corporate America or whether it's in small businesses, so that we women can not only change this climate, but hold the perpetrators of this horrible behavior towards women accountable.
Like, I don't know. I'm always, I always get I always get that fucking feeling whenever anybody is saying we should all do this and we should all grab power and then we can hold people we don't like accountable for. Oh, dude,
Look, I need to ask you this because it's suddenly starting to bubble to the surface, including women. There was a big article in the American Interest newspaper magazine basically saying, quote, that there could be a backlash. Mass hysteria has set in. It's become a classic moral panic, one that's ultimately as dangerous to women as to men. In other words, the idea that, a hand on a knee is being held to the same standard as a rape or a serious abuse. Are you worried about that?
Shit, man, wasn't there a thing not too long ago about Adam Sandler during an interview? He, put his hand on a lady's leg or accident. I don't even fucking know how it happened, and everybody got upset. We're already fucking there! What do you mean, worried?
I'm not worried about that. I think we all know what kind of conduct is unacceptable. It is not acceptable to harass some of the people that work for you. It is not appropriate or acceptable to attack a woman, to have unwanted groping, unwanted kissing, throwing them up a sentence against a wall. You can just list the behavior. It's not hard to understand. And I hope that this country is strong enough, is thoughtful enough to have this conversation and take from it that we must value women and men who are also victims of sexual violence.
Man, I don't know. You say all that, but there's so many of these blurred lines. Everything. Everybody wants to fucking throw this shit around to everybody now. It's the new trend of 2018. Everybody's a fucking sexual assaulter. I don't know. I don't know. Either we're really uncovering some terrible, terrible, terrible things that are going on, in which case, fucking awesome. Or this is going to keep going and it's going to start getting ridiculous. And that's going to be bad.
We need to value one another. We need to care about one another. We need to treat each other with respect. We're not asking for something more than that. And so I hope that people do not feel they need to retaliate against women or exclude women, because that would show that we are not up to this moment. We should be big enough to handle this moment and create safe workplaces and places where men and women can thrive together. That's what makes our economy grow. That's what makes our country strong.
Well, what if in the climate of all this stuff, what if, the men band together and say, we don't want women here? Because we believe that creates an unsafe environment for us, because we now live in a society where all you need to be is accused of some shit. So we would like to not have women here anymore because we feel threatened, because any fucking thing that we do, any time that we might put their hand, because I do this at work all the time. When I'm walking behind somebody, I don't want people don't fucking pay attention to you. So when you're walking behind somebody, if you've got I don't know, 400 or 500 degree hunk of metal in your fucking tongs in your hand, if you go to walk behind somebody, you put your hand on their fucking back to make sure they don't back up into that shit. It's a safety precaution. But now that's assault. You know what I mean? If I happen to do that to a girl that doesn't like me, see, dude, because it's one of those things. It's the bathroom bill to me all over again. I don't like it because there's so much room for it to be abused. I can't, no.
We should be up to this moment. And so I would just urge everyone not to make an excuse in some way to see this as a retaliation against women. We should absolutely avoid it, and we should just stay strong. Women should be heard. They should keep coming forward and aspire to positions of power where they can change the players list and change the climate.
Dude, I don't like that. I don't like that. Anytime anybody says something along those lines, I don't like that.
Senator, can I ask you one last question about what Democrats stand for? You probably read the leading article in the Washington Post today, and it basically said, you know, in recent weeks, you've scored huge electoral wins in Virginia, cultivated public opposition to the Republican tax plan, purged 2 liberal senators, you know, all of that, but still can't agree on what the party stands for. What does the party stand for? And are you a potential candidate in 2020 for the presidential race?
Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no.
No, but...
Thank Christ.
What we stand for is we care about one another. We believe that if you work hard every day, your work should be rewarded. We believe every American should have a right to the American dream. That if you work hard every day, you can work your way into the middle class and provide for your kids.
Bitch, ain't nobody trying to work their way into the middle class. Come on, man. Shit.
That I care about your kids as much as I care about my own. That is what we stand for. We have always stood for that.
Huh?
And so whether we're fighting to reward work in this country with national paid leave or equal pay or affordable daycare or universal pre-K, or whether we're valuing all of us by fighting for women's voices and making sure we are all valued in this country.
Huh?
That is what we stand for. We have always stood for that. And it is a moment in time where we have extraordinary candidates that are coming forward, and a lot of them are women, first-time candidates winning in record numbers, certainly in the last election in November, and even in this next election in 2018, we have more women candidates than we've ever had in the history of this country.
I don't know, man. I think they figured it out. I think they finally figured it out that there's more of them than there are of us, and if they just all fucking voted together, they could totally ruin everything.
You're so passionate. Why wouldn't you run?
Bitch! Shut the fuck up! She said no. We're all good with that.
Well, I want to serve in the U.S. Senate, and I'm up for my own election in 2018, and I'd be blessed if my state voted for me again.
What's your state? California? You got it. Jesus Christ. What is your fucking state? I actually want to know. Hold up. New York. Yeah. Yeah. You'll get reelected. You're from fucking New York. Yeah, they'll reelect you. Yeah, no problem. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry. But I don't think the presidency is in your future. Sorry, lady. That honestly might be enough to actually make me register and vote. Fuck. No. I just don't like that. I just don't like that. I don't like when anybody goes, we're a certain sect, and we should all get together and grab up as much political power as we can so that we can change the world the way we want it and punish all the people we don't like. Wasn't it Hitler that did that?